Again, this is like the easiest way for me guys to show you. There you go. Look right here. You see this? It's my baby. It's my warthog, which I was able to go through and I was able to get like really close to it and look at it. And oh my god, it is so cool. I love it.
This is Fred Johnson for the Air.
And also, it's not my legit baby, okay? It's my baby that I went to adopt. But the adoption fees are a little too expensive, okay? And plus, it takes a lot of care to take care of that baby. So no, I claim it as a baby that I want, but it's a little too out of my budget, you know what I mean?
The Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum, an institution in McMinnville, Oregon, that boasts an elaborate collection of aircraft topped by the huge Hercules wooden flying boat popularly nicknamed the Spruce Goose. This is not your run-of-the-mill aero worth the drive to McMinnville. Two major buildings house a large part of the aircraft and missile collection, with more machines displayed outdoors. If the Oregon weather is not the kindest, we are told efforts are being made to get more aircraft indoors. June of 2023, we found the staff and volunteers to be upbeat, energetic, and enthusiastic. Those positive attitudes contributed to a general sense of fun while visiting the museum. Take a look at what impressed us in the collection, and maybe you will visit the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum too.
Not a hazard. So what thing did you do? They had all these on display as well. So all these were still the same. And I say no. I don't think that's weird. I will say I think that's awesome. The husband's brother was able to name off almost all the planes here. Okay, I think, yes, okay, this one. Okay, there is a story with this one that I will get to. But if anyone knows the story of the German jet and the B-17, then this is that. Okay? This has a lot of very cool history. Okay, Kronos? Do you know that one? Okay, then there you go. Yes, this is one of the jets. We will go over that story after we go through the Air Museum. Yeah, so no, the story is about a German pilot and an American B-17, and it's a very interesting story, to say the least. But keep that in mind for later. Let me go back to this real quick. This is also another German plane that has very, very cool things. It has a gun on both wings and a gun on top. This thing can fire without hitting these through very specific timing. So that is also insane. That was also a very funky looking plane. Being aquatic and such. Always looks so funky. Hang on, this person did a really good job going through with everything. Well, like, this video does not do justice of how big this thing was. I just realized I don't know if that music will get copyrighted. So, for now, I guess I'll just play it through this one. I don't want it to get copyrighted. And again, looking at the size of this, it didn't feel real looking at it. This isn't a video by the museum, it's by someone else. So again, I assuming that's free music, but at the same time, it's like, maybe not. So I'm just using a different audio track that won't be picked up in the VOD. It's scary. Oh. A lot of these are real. So a lot of these are retired or picked up and brought here, and yeah. There is some that are being worked on or using old parts or whatnot to rebuild it, but yeah. Most of these should be real or use real parts. Like this thing was a whole real one. This was the B2 rocket or something like that? I forget. Again, I have pictures of all of it. Oh, and I need to tell the husband to go send pictures too. Thailand. And it starts. There she is. There's the blackbird. Which actually, the shirt that I'm currently wearing is the blackbird shirt. And there she is. The baby. The other baby. 18 warthog. Which yeah, I love that thing. But yeah, so thank you, land. Also, I need to make that a redeem for an A10. But yeah, so we have the Blackhawk. Blackhawk, oh my god. Blackbird. Blackbird. I always want to think that is Blackhawk. But no, Blackbird. But yes, I got a shirt that is of the Blackbird. So that's very nice. And then, of course, we have the A10. Wow, this thing was amazing. They even had part of the engine opened up. Oh, and actually, this is one of the rockets that goes to... it's one of the rocket ships. I forget which one. But this is just one of them. One of the engines. Out of the 4 that was on it. Again, I think... I forget what it's called. I don't think it's called, like, Titan or something. I don't think... Titan, Hercules... It is something. I'm not as good with my space stuff. Right! Also, this is the drone. Or... Wait, no, this isn't. It should be... It's either this one down here, or it's this one. I forget which one. But it's the drone that sits on the Blackbird. Oh, hi, Hop! Yep, we got the beauty right here. Again, that thing was amazing. I didn't realize this thing was in the other building. Interesting. They've done a lot of moving. And then there's this thing. This thing looked hella weird. I don't know how to really describe it. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's a really funky thing. And for context, Hop, I went to the Air Museum yesterday, and yeah, so we're going over and looking at a bunch of cool stuff. We got the Blackbird. There's a bunch of helicopters over here. I don't know if he shows that, but It's hella neat. Ah, there we go. There's the helicopters. Look at the... Oh, wait. They didn't have the... Oh. Okay, this was all put together when I saw it. Oh, that's awesome. You know, look at the fucking nose on this thing. I got a really up-close picture of just the nose. It's funny. And then this thing, that thing was also cool to look at. That thing was very, very nice. Then we have the dragonfly. And then I'll send this in the Discord, so everyone else has a chance to go look at these whenever you want to. Still, look at that beauty. That thing is amazing looking. All right, now we have this one, which has a bit more commentary. I'll flip this over. A boop.
Hello and welcome. I'm Alex, your virtual guide on this tour through time here at the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon.
Now, this was 3 years ago, and I think he shows a little bit... Yeah, he goes through the history of it, so he gives a little bit more information.
Once you step inside the aviation building, you are greeted by the awe-inspiring sight of the gargantuan H-4 Hercules, the largest flying boat ever built. Accompanying this video is my own mini documentary about this massive aircraft, but I will attempt to summarize it to help you understand the rest of this tour. The Hercules was built by the famous pilot, movie producer, and business magnate Howard Hughes. He was contracted to build a flying boat so large that it could help transport troops and supplies to Europe during World War II. Due to the limited materials he was allowed to build with, the aircraft had to be made almost entirely out of birch wood, making this airship seem like an impossibility. The press had sneered at Hughes's plane, nicknaming it the Spruce Goose, and by the time the aircraft was completed, the war was over, and there was no need for it anymore. The government and the public thought that Hughes had wasted public funding on an aircraft that was simply too big to fly. But on November 2nd, 1947, Hughes had shocked the nation when he unveiled the H-4 Hercules and took it out for taxiing tests in the harbor of Long Beach, California. On the third and final run, he ordered flaps to 15 degrees and flew the plane at an altitude of 70 feet for almost a mile, before gently setting her back down into the water. The Hercules had broke records that day. She was 3 times bigger than the largest aircraft in the skies at that point, and it held the record for the largest wingspan of any aircraft ever built for a total of 72 years, until the Strato launch broke that record in the...
Okay, so this thing, the reason it's big is because of its wingspan. Yeah, so it's big, but like, yeah, there's the Hercules, there's that. It's big because its wingspan is wide. It's overall not massive if we're comparing to the Hercules. Like, yes, it's still very big, but still, it's just like, I'll feel like that's technically right. Yes, it's the widest wingspan, which is like, it's a few sticks, okay? It's a few sticks.
year 2019. When you peer around the museum, the other massive aircraft surrounding the Hercules appear like toys in comparison. Tail flaps alone have a wingspan larger than the Boeing DC-3, which sits nearby. The H-4 was driven by 8 Pratt & Whitney R4360 engines, the largest radial reciprocating aircraft engines ever built, each one capable of 3,000 horsepower, for a combined total of 24,000 horsepower of propulsion. The propellers themselves have a diameter of 17 feet, which is a little over 5 meters. The wingspan of the Hercules is 320 feet, 97.5 meters. Her length is 218 feet, 66.5 meters.
Now, this is again where I, with my mom, I'm pointing to the back of this thing and making the comment, I like this thing's honka-badonka. You know, it has a big honka-badonka. I mean, look at the size of that. Videos do no justice for how big this is. I cannot. Okay? It is insane. Get the measurements, get all the stuff that you want. Seeing it in person is a different experience.
And the tip of her tail soars over 5 stories in the air. Her main construction was a 7-layer laminated birch veneer. It was quite a thin material, but also unusual.
Side note, this is miniature that was used in the movie, I think. Yeah, I think it was used in the movie, and then also it's a great miniature to show the work that was done on this. It looks pretty average. Okay, bud. Okay. Okay. That girl is a beauty. She ain't no average.
Usually strong. The veneer was used not just in the cladding of the shell, but also layered up to make the structural frames of the plane itself. Over the shell went a layer of canvas that was painted with a metallic aluminum color. The H-4 is designated a historical engineering landmark by the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. As she sits in the museum, all the weight of the craft is supported by a steel cradle under the original wood-framed belly of the beast. Now, let's go inside through the side doors to get a better view of this amazing airship. We're looking at the structural frames, stretching all the way back into the tail of the aircraft.
Now, I was able to go into this part, but if you want to go upstairs, you had to pay the extra $25, which was pretty much another entry fee. So we didn't do that, but we did get to check out all of this. And also, yes, all those balls are part of the original aircraft.
Those beach balls you see on the floor were discovered inside the floaters of the wings. They were placed there in 1951 as a backup measure in case the floaters were ever breached by water. Above is the massive wooden framework brace that supports all the weight of the wings as they are cantilevered off each other.
Hi, Stone! We're currently going over the Air Museum that I got to visit yesterday. So, going through some videos and everything else, showing everything that I got to see, plus some extra topics.
Below are
Hey
the watertight
streamer,
compartments
drink
that hold the
water and
11
fix
fuel
your
tanks,
posture. You
each with a
dehydrated
capacity
fucking
of
hunchback.
1,000 gallons of fuel. Looking towards the nose of the plane, we see the electrical box in the foreground, and ahead of it is the hydraulic assist pump. The Hercules was so large it had to be the first airplane ever constructed to use a hydraulic steering system, capable of multiplying the pilot's strength by 200 times. Hydraulic steering is now commonplace on large aircraft. The H-4 was designed to carry either 750 troops or 2 Sherman tanks, or at least the equivalent of 150,000 pounds of supplies, to which they would have been loaded through the...
Also, this was a miniature that they had. They had 2 miniatures. This was one of them, and then they have another one showing it in another area that it was stored at. But this is so cool how it opens up. There's even a picture that was quoted. The Hercules giving birth to a tank. That was a picture that they had up there.
The clamshell doors on the front of the nose. But since the airplane was no longer needed, the clamshell doors were never installed, although they were constructed. The aircraft was so well built that the doors and hatches could easily be opened and closed no matter what the temperature or humidity is in the room. Keep in mind, the Hercules is made almost 98% out of wood, a material known for expanding and contracting quite noticeably. These stairs were made just for Howard Hughes. He was quite germophobic and didn't like touching the ladders that the crew was using. You smell the old. It's a tight squeeze, but as we make our way up to the second level, we are spiraling over a massive air purifier, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. Now we find ourselves in the large second level of the Hercules. This is where crew had access to the wings. The H-4 is so large that you can actually stand up inside the wings. This was useful to the crew who kept an eye on the maintenance of the 8 engines.
Or that.
These are the seats where the journalists sat when history...
Also, that's something I didn't realize, or even think about. You walk inside of the wings. Good lord. That actually would be hella cool to go through.
These are the seats where the journalists sat when history was made as the largest aircraft ever built to that point had leapt out of the harbor. The windows you see here were added during the years when the Spruce Goose was on display inside the dome next to RMS Queen Mary. They are not original. Howard loved drinking coffee, and as such he had this dispensing station installed. Now we can see some of the flight testing instruments, which helped provide data on the performance of the airplane. And now we've come to the highlight of our tour, the actual cockpit of the Hercules. To the right is the flight engineer's station. Howard sat in the pilot seat on the left. But the seat on the right is not exactly a co-pilot station. Actually, it was designed for the crewman, who assists with the hydraulic function of the plane. But there were a few instruments installed for emergency piloting. Video. As you walk throughout the plane, the floors creak under your weight. It's quite an odd sound that you don't expect to hear inside an airplane, especially not one of this size. The pipe that juts out the back of Howard's seat is where the purified air blows out. Remember, I said that Howard was germophobic. This was linked to his obsessive-compulsive disorder. He insisted that when he was in the pilot's seat, the purified air always be blowing on him. The H-4 Hercules is a marvel of engineering. From its advanced CO2 fire suppression system, to its miles of electric cables and birchwood veneer framework, to its 8 massive engines perched high overhead. The Spruce Goose is a titan, and it sits here, carefully restored and well-maintained at the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum of McMinnville, Oregon. If you're ever in the area, the museum is well worth the visit, especially to see this monster of an airplane. Thanks for watching, and be sure to
I'll copy the link to this video as well, share it in the Discord. There we go. So yeah, the Spruce Goose and the fucking toothpicks that have taken over on, oh, being the biggest plane. It's toothpicks. What? Stink butt? The husband's over on YouTube. What are you doing? Get back to work. Go on. You stink. Gotta make me look crazy while I'm talking to myself. Blackbird. This thing is so cool, okay? I cannot be hated for it. Because look at it. This thing is nut-worthy. It is gorgeous. There we go. That's a good picture. But yeah, so we got to see this, and I was just like, I was geeking over it. And it's funny because this kind of thing is over in the space section and more modern area, because, well, this is like right on the line of being like a spacecraft. Also, here you go. Here's a picture of the gun. Not the best picture. Let me see. Do they have a better one? Oh yeah, there you go. So I think these are 30 millimeters. I think it's 30 mil. But yeah, that thing is like yeesh. Okay, so I know that that's actually a pretty cool paint job. Though I have to say, I do kind of like the this one. They're goofy looking. They're funky. Not bad. It gives it character. But then the story that I was referencing with the B-17 and the German pilot. This is an animation that usually goes around talking about this very story. Now, people do have different ideas of what happened, but they all lead to the same thing. So I will play this for you guys. Yeah, this is the right one. And I will be sending this video into the Discord as well. Oops. There we go. I knew I had audio. Extra bit of context I will give here. So this front part was broken. It is -15 in the plane. Soldiers that are still alive are all freezing. But also with that front part busted, all the guns are frozen. They are not operating. Or at least they shouldn't be operating. They might not show that in this video. And then right here is the back gunner. Of course, the pilot notices is not there anymore. I realize one more thing to make note of. This German pilot has already taken out, I think at this time, either 2 or 3 B-17s that day, not including the other ones that he already taken out, which I do not remember the exact count on it, but I think he was getting close to 10. So he could recognize that this thing was beat to absolute shit. And a little bit of extra context that I did not learn about yet. Talking to some people at the museum, there's some extra little bits. The German pilot at this time was trying to get them to go down. He was trying to get the aircraft to land. Oh, thank you. So hi, Shadowfly General, hi. So now this part right here is the part that there's mixed stories on what actually happened. But for the whole story of this thing, the German followed a certain coat of arms. If they are injured, if they are, if there are people with parachutes going out of the sky, whatever it may be, if they are weak and helpless, do not kill them. That was the coat of arms. This was one of the Germans that had that training. He found the B-17 who had just been through battle and was weak. It was flying low, and so the German was attempting to get him to land. They don't show it in the video, but what he did was he came up in front of them, and the universal code for follow me is wiggling the wings or wiggling the aircraft. The B-17 was not listening. It was like, nope, this is a trap, not gonna do it. And so the German comes up next to them and is pointing for him to go down. He's trying to get this thing to land or go to a safe place. So originally he was going to try to take him elsewhere, and then of course the B-17 didn't listen, and so then he tried to get him to land in Germany. He wasn't going to listen again, and is just thinking that this German is teasing him. He is just, I'm gonna kill you and whatever. So that was what they thought. And then in this part is where the story goes two ways. It goes one way, like how it's being shown in the video, or the other way, which is the theory is the aircraft, the German, kind of like shadowed the B-17 and kind of like made it to where he angled and wasn't seen, or the B-17 wasn't seen by the people down below, because they're coming up to the coast. The coast is very heavily armed and easily could shoot down the B-17 because not everyone followed that coat of arms. Or in this video, they show the other way, which possibly happened. Okay, so I don't know if that's exactly how it went down. Again, I was told a different story. And also, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Shadow. How are you? Again, we're going through a lot of cool history stuff. Yeah, this plane, this jet, we got to see at the Air Museum. So that was also very cool because I did not realize that it was that jet. And just like it's amazing. It's amazing part of history that I definitely think should be shared more. And then the last story that I have to share of the amazing stuff from yesterday, there is a plane called the Grasshopper. It's just like, for simple terms, just a farming plane. But there's a very special person tied to that plane. There's also people from the first bombing of Japan that would get together every year till I think 2008. Really? I didn't know that. Wow. That's something else I didn't think about. That is insane. There's a lot of things that happened, and just not enough of these stories are talked about. So that I like going through and learning about them because I want to know these stories. These are so fascinating. It was during the Great War that the 3 different sides stopped for that one day. Okay, I couldn't remember which one it was, but I remember it being such a fascinating thing. Like everyone stopped fighting for that one day, and it's just like it proves that with how I kind of view everything, with the war and everything going on, it's not the people. It's not. It is the people who are higher up going through with all this, and it's just like people are people, just like the Nazis. Not all of them were bloodthirsty, bloody criminals or whatnot. No, there were some that, of course, believe in it because they were trained to, but not all Nazis were bad. They were not. And so that's also why I find World War II history so fascinating. Oh, hi. Hey, Anakin. Welcome. But with all of these stories, it proves what I believe on its war, but it doesn't have anything to do with the person. Each person is their own individual type. There's plenty of chances of, oh, these people could kill each other, or they could do that. Easily during that Christmas, no one thought that they could have done something. But it's how they're trained, or what they believe, or what they're taught to believe that, oh, these are bad, we need to do something. And then there's, of course, the people who are 100% brainwashed or 100% believe in this is what is right. And again, that was the way for a lot, but not all. And so that's what I like to put out in an argument or a topic. Just because they were bad doesn't mean they're all bad. Similar to cops. Oh, all cops are bad, blah, 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 blah. No, only some. It is not all or nothing. It's not summing it up. And so that's why I like going in these stories, is because it shows it so well. But I think it's so cool, all the stories that get to be told and the ones that get to live on. Which also brings me to the next story that I would like to share. Bazooka Charlie. This guy right here is insane. And again, I was not expecting to see his, not his plane, but the plane. How's your day going today?
Hello, imbecile.
What? He was given this crop duster, but pretty much this guy right here, he was a scout. I don't remember what the deal was with it, but he was able to call in artillery and he, kind of just a scout plane. Germans were told not to worry about shooting these guys down because it's going to be a lot more of an issue shooting them down and possibly losing a tank or something else due to artillery. So they were told to ignore it. Then this guy comes along and he attaches bazookas to his plane and he dive bombs the panzer tanks and starts taking them out. Now this is very much a great sum of what happened, but this is like the main bit that you need to know about this guy. He took bazookas. I think a total of 6. Yeah, I think a total of 6. I think he added more later, but he had bazookas and attached them to his plane that he was able to detonate and kill tanks with. Yes, exactly that. And it was insane. He has at least 6 confirmed kills, but the only way they were able to confirm kills is if there's a general or someone who have high ranking confirm, oh yeah, he got this and this kills, which a lot of the time he didn't have because he's just a scout and no one was there to witness it. So he easily had, I think, about 20 tank kills, but not all of them could be filed. He did a lot. So with what he did, eventually, with wherever time period in the war, Germans started attacking the Grasshopper planes because they now know that they could do damage and more people were trying it. And the only reason he did this is because from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend did they mention, oh yeah, maybe you could attach bazookas to it. So it was all just hearsay, but he actually did it and became a fucking legend for it. Because I mean, he's taking a little crop duster, a little cute plane, and attaching stuff to it. Let me see, there's this, would this go through and talk about it? Hey there, yay, how you doing? Hi. We are currently talking about Bazooka Charlie, but also we're just talking about, the Spruce Goose or Hercules, H4 Hercules, the what was it called again? B-17, there we go. Not crazy. And yes, I can see that you're new. You're new, fresh meat. You're a little newbie. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're going through and talking about a lot of stuff, but a lot of history stuff. Okay, so yeah, this is like a little animation of kind of like what Charlie did. Yes, I do. Let me see. I gotta use my new fancy commands. There you go. So that's the Discord. Okay, so good. This is actually a video that goes about talking about Bazooka Charlie, it seems, on the extra details. Side note, this guy was a history teacher, I think. Oh wait, no, I don't think he was history. I think he was a science teacher. What's your Discord? Oh, there you go. So you can just join up in that.
It's September 1944. The Battle of Aricor is underway. The German 5th Panzer Army is up against the US 4th Armored Division. The Germans outnumber the American forces. The US forces have the advantage of air superiority, but the Germans have better gun range. Heavy fog has set in around the combatants and the playing field is level. Under cover of the fog, German Panthers have advanced towards the US headquarters and have the Americans pinned down. Taking off in his Piper...
I just realized we have an ad playing, so I'll just wait right here with the ad. Oh, we have a problem? Well, what's the problem? What's happening? Currently, we're just waiting for the ads to get past. Because I want new peeps to see it. Your boy recognizes my voice. That is a problem. Now I'm on stream, he runs across to me. Oh my god. Wait, seriously? Oh my god, that's precious. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. That's cute. Oh, that is cute. That means I should probably watch myself just a little bit if he happens to be watching, because I don't want him to pick up any bad words. Okay, that's good. That's good that you have headphones in. I don't want that baby to pick up bad words. I don't want to know I'm the reason he learned something. It's not my responsibility. No, he's under year, he's fine. That is true. That is true. Still, that is precious. Oh my god.
US headquarters and have the Americans pinned down. Taking off in his Piper Al-4 Grasshopper from a field nearby is Major Charles Carpenter, an observation pilot. The Grasshopper is a light aircraft made of fabric over a steel frame, with a top speed of just 85 miles per hour. Essential to the push through Europe, these spotters could see the hidden German armor that laid frequently in ambush, causing havoc for the Allies as they pushed through France towards Germany. Although today, the fog has prevented Charles II from seeing what is happening below. Around noon, the fog and low cloud that has been covering the battlefield starts to clear. It's at this moment, through the mist, that Carpenter sees several German Panther tanks heading towards Aracore. Without hesitation, Carpenter wheels his slow-moving bird around and starts to dive towards the Germans below. Charles's actions will make him and his Grasshopper famous. This isn't just any Piper Al-4. This Grasshopper bites back. Armed with 6 bazookas, 3 under each wing, this little plane packs a punch and has been christened with the name...
You just got the same name as your Twitch. I did link the Discord. Did you happen to see that? Because I won't accept private DMs. Mainly, I don't accept private DMs regarding art because, yeah, there's too many people going out there scamming. Well, you can join the public Discord that everyone can join, and you can share your stuff in there. Because again, I'm being honest, I don't deal with none of the bullshit. Most of the time, when I get asked, oh, can I send you stuff on Discord? I want to send you art on Discord. Most of the time, it's people trying to sell me stuff. So, if you're trying to sell me something, I'm not interested. But if you want to share your art, I'm more than happy to see it, and you're able to join the Discord. So again, I link it for the 3rd time. You're more than welcome to join. Okay, again, I'm sorry that happens a little too much to where I don't do that. But yes, so there's a link to the Discord. If you happen to lose it again, you can just do !Discord and you'll be able to join the Discord, be able to post your stuff in the art channel and share it through there. You're a kid? How young of a kid by chance? You're not like 10, are you? 13? Oh, okay. And also, yeah, no. Gone. Already dealt with. No, it ends up being the kid. No. 13 is still young. You say you're 13. Nope. What? I took my headphone out for 2 seconds. He later called him. Oh my god. Yeah, he's too cute. Cute little baby. Again, I'm gonna be having a baby. It's gonna happen. Oh my god, the fucking face. So cute.
Rosie, the rocketer.
Also, hi,
Back inside the
Taco.
cockpit, Charles is at the control.
And no, yeah. 13. He was 13, wanting to send me artwork. And again, I don't have an issue with younger people watching, but like, if you tell me your age, you're getting booted if you end up being too young. 17 or under is too young to be in the Discord. Yeah, no, especially for what we have in there. But again, how I have it set, yes, this is 18 plus mature content, okay? Mature, because I can only censor myself so much, but I can't help to make a sexual joke or some joke that is unhinged when there's the perfect moment.
Added a special panel on the console, upon which there are 6 switches, 1 for each bazooka. Charles can activate each one, or fire a salvo of all 6 if necessary. Charles knows that the armor on top of the German tanks is relatively thin and only went up to 45 millimeters on the heaviest of tanks. With each bazooka able to penetrate 99 millimeters, Rosie was more than capable of raining down deadly force upon the unsuspecting tank crews below. Putting the plane into a deep dive, Charlie flicks 2 switches on his customized panel on the console. There's a brief puff of smoke as the electricity ignites the charge and the rocket powers towards its intended target of a German Panther below, smashing into the turret and creating a barrage of molten hot shrapnel inside. The Iron Beast splutters its last and grinds to a halt. Pulling on the stick and out of the deep dive, Carpenter allows himself a moment of triumph as he escapes the flurry of small arms fire that is now buzzing all around Rosie. Usually the Germans don't fire at spotters as it gives away their positions. But realizing this pilot isn't flying the usual harmless type of Grasshopper, they desperately try to hit the escaping plane. Carpenter doesn't go far. Gaining enough height, he pushes forward again to line up his next target. This time, the Germans are ready, and Rosie doesn't completely escape the hail of lead. Unperturbed, Charles takes out his second prize of the day, and another Panther is stopped in the field. Despite the fire from below,
Very good talk.
Carpenter used
Very good.
all his rockets and headed back to base, leaving devastation behind him. Landing back at base, Carpenter refueled and rearmed Rosie, took off again, and headed back to the column. The Germans were waiting and threw everything they had at Charles and Rosie. Charles managed to do several attack runs using his full complement of rockets, and then, incredibly, headed back to base, rearmed and refueled, and engaged the Germans a third time. The Grasshopper was made of fabric stretched over a metal frame, and had a huge amount of lift for its size. As such, it could take several hits from small arms fire, and provided they didn't hit anything essential, such as the pilot or the engine, the plane could shrug off holes in the wings or fuselage. Having destroyed or immobilized several tanks and armored vehicles, the remaining panzers were forced to retreat, and Charles decided that was enough for one day. Interviewed by Stars and Stripes magazine, Charles told the reporter his idea of war was to attack, and then attack again. When asked what the enemy made of Charles, he said, "Word must be getting around to watch out for cubs with bazookas on them. Every time I show up now, they shoot with everything they have. They never used to bother cubs. Bazookas must be bothering them a bit." Not one to just battle in the air, Charles was no stranger to combat on the ground. Near Avranches, Carpenter was scouting landing sites. Spotted by Germans, his unit found themselves under attack. With the US forces battling...
What questions you got? Ben, I'll ask any questions. Any questions welcome. Especially if it has to do with anything uranium blast related. Definitely not my main obsession.
for their lives, Charles realized the battle was going against them. In a battle rage, he climbed upon a Sherman tank and took control of a .50 caliber machine gun. Taking aim upon the enemy positions,
How about this
yelled
story?
all the while at the American troops to attack and press forward. Led on that day by the Mad Major shouting encouragement upon the Sherman, the American...
That is an interesting question. Does your hubby like when you stream and stay away from him for hours? No bother. I mean, he'll go and play with his brothers on games for, hours or whatnot. We're not bothered by it. I mean, we're still chilling with each other or whatnot. So not bothered at all. And again, he likes to see how I do his streaming. He likes all this stuff. And he's working on, doing YouTube content himself. So he does YouTube. He was streaming a little bit, but learned that he liked YouTube more. He's doing all that stuff. So no, we're both content creators on doing this. Yeah, he does face cam. He has his face covered with I like to call it stupid, but it's a Russian type of face mask. But yes, with him being a face cam, he likes the more freedom that he is able to do and not as much money because VTuber's expensive and there's not as many good VTuber models that fit like his type. He's more expressive and less money. I like being a VTuber because I like keeping my face hidden and also I like this theme that I got going on. I do not have short hair. I do not have blue hair. I don't have two different colored eyes. I like this more like mythical type of thing going. But for him, his stuff is easier to get to. But overall, again, I like VTubers. I like the expression that I can get with what I have. If there's probably more VTuber models out there for males that fit more of what he was wanting, that didn't take as much money, then he might do VTubing. But yeah, this is what we got.
Americans won the day and pushed the German forces back. A little too enthusiastically, Charles all the while continued firing, unwittingly striking an American Sherman bulldozer tank. The bulldozer blade of the tank was shot off by Charles, and he was placed under arrest for his perceived recklessness. Threatened with the firing squad, he was in mortal danger for his actions, until his commanding officer intervened. Expecting to be court-martialed, in an incredible turn of events, General Patton himself saved Charles. Patton went on to admonish his men for arresting Charles, and instead of punishing him, he awarded the Major the Silver Star for bravery, saying that Carpenter was just the kind of fighting man he wanted in his army. The press loved the story of the Mad Major, and his fame grew. He was interviewed and told the reporters, "Some people around here think I'm nuts, but I just believe that if we're going to fight a war, we have to get on with it, 60 minutes an hour and 24 hours a day." By the end of the war, he had incredibly knocked out 14 tanks, but was officially credited with 6 tanks destroyed, including 2 of the feared Tiger 1s. For his actions, he was promoted to Lieutenant...
Hey, go piss, okay? You need to go piss. I already went piss. Now you need to go piss. Oh, come on, go piss. You stink. You absolute stink. No. Bruh. Are you gonna go piss outside? Oh wait, we're gonna go back and watch an awesome video about a cool guy with his grasshopper and cool rockets.
Colonel. In 1945,
Stink.
Carpenter was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease and was honorably discharged from service.
Stinker.
Just 2 years to live. He returned to work as a high school history teacher in Illinois and defied the doctor's predictions and died in 1966. As for Rosie, she survived the war. In 1946, she was left in a German surplus yard and had her bazookas removed. Repainted in civilian colors and resold to owners in Switzerland and Austria, she became a flying club plane. Just another Piper. Eventually, she ended up gathering dust in the Österreichisches Luftfahrtmuseum. Her illustrious past completely forgotten. Incredibly, in just 2017, Rosie was tracked down. Realizing the historical importance, she was purchased by the Collins Foundation and brought to the US, where she is currently under restoration. The Foundation have almost finished the restoration and have returned Rosie back to her original configuration. The Rosie the Rocketer artwork on the side of the Grasshopper looks exactly the same as it was originally. It was painted on by Lieutenant Colonel Charles Carpenter's granddaughter, Erin. We look forward to seeing Rosie flying again in the near future.
Yes, this was the detail that I loved. So they what was it? The granddaughter was able to find information about who this was and pretty much go through, learn about it, get more information, and they were able to restore the plane to what it was, and she was able to play on the original Rosie the Rocketer that was painted on there. I thought that was so cool. I'm so happy they were able to do that and have the blood relation be able to help with it. It really is amazing. Yeah, so there we go. We pretty much went through everything. I mean, yeah, I think we went through everything. Because most of the other stuff was all the pictures and everything else we went through. So honestly, I'd say that's pretty successful.